March 26, 1997. The strange and tragic tale of Heaven's Gate cult members sold their possessions, castrated themselves, and committed suicide for a trip to heaven aboard a UFO spaceship. Digital Worldwide News, March 26, 1997. It was an unusually quiet day in Rancho Santa Fe, an upscale community nestled in the hills of San Diego County, California. The morning sun cast long shadows over the opulent homes, where wealthy residents enjoyed their serene, secluded lives. But within one of these houses, a chilling scene was about to be uncovered, a scene that would haunt the collective consciousness for years to come. A shocking discovery. The day began like any other, but soon the calm was shattered. A concerned ex-member of the Heaven's Gate cult, prompted by a disturbing anonymous tip, called the authorities. When sheriff's deputies arrived at the mansion on Colina Norte, what they found was beyond anything they could have imagined. Inside the sprawling home, they discovered 39 bodies, each clad in identical black clothing and Nike sneakers, laid out peacefully on bunk beds, with purple shrouds covering their faces and torsos. The scene was eerily calm, almost serene, as if the members had willingly embraced their fate. But as investigators unraveled a story of manipulation, desperation, and a shared delusion that had ended in mass suicide. To understand the tragedy of Heaven's Gate, one must delve into its origins. The cult was founded in the early 1970s by Marshall Applewhite and Bonnie Nettles, who believed they were chosen to deliver a divine message. Applewhite, a music teacher with a troubled past, and Nettles, a nurse with a keen interest in the metaphysical, met by chance but quickly formed a bond over their shared spiritual beliefs. They adopted the names Bo and Peep, respectively, and began preaching a unique doctrine that combined elements of Christianity, science fiction, and New Age mysticism. They claimed to be the two witnesses prophesied in the Book of Revelation, sent to guide humanity to the next level, a higher plane of existence. A growing following. Over the next 2 decades, Applewhite and Nettles traveled across the United States, recruiting followers who shared their yearning for spiritual enlightenment. The group, which became known as Heaven's Gate, was characterized by its strict ascetic lifestyle. Members renounced their earthly possessions, severed ties with family and friends, and dedicated themselves entirely to the teachings of Applewhite and Nettles. They lived communally, adhering to a rigid code of conduct that included celibacy, vegetarianism, and a regimented daily schedule. Members were encouraged to suppress their individual identities, adopting new names and wearing identical clothing. In 1985, Nettles died of cancer, a blow that deeply affected Applewhite. He grappled with his grief and the implications of her death, but ultimately reinterpreted their teachings to account for her passing. He claimed that Nettles had transcended to the next level and was waiting for the rest of them to join her. In the early 1990s, the advent of the internet provided a new platform for Heaven's Gate to spread its message. The group created a website, through which they shared their beliefs and attracted new members. They believed that an extraterrestrial spacecraft was trailing the Hale-Bopp comet, and that this spaceship would transport them to the next level. As the comet approached in 1997, Applewhite convinced his followers that the time had come. They needed to shed their earthly containers to board the spacecraft and ascend to a higher plane of existence. This would be achieved through ritual suicide, which they believed was a necessary step to transcend their human forms. The group meticulously planned their final act. They recorded farewell videos in which they expressed their excitement and conviction. The ritual began on March 24, 1997. Over the course of 3 days, members consumed a lethal mixture of phenobarbital and vodka, assisted by those who had not yet ingested the poison. Each member wore a patch on their arm that read, "Heaven's Gate Away Team," a stark reminder of their belief in their cosmic mission. The discovery of the bodies shocked the world. News outlets scrambled to make sense of the tragedy, with images of the serene yet haunting scene flooding the airwaves. The public was horrified and fascinated in equal measure, struggling to comprehend how 39 people could be led to such an extreme act. Even after all these years, some questions remain unanswered. What drove Marshall Applewhite to such extremes? How did he maintain such unwavering control over his followers? And could such a tragedy happen again? These questions continue to haunt those who study the phenomenon of cults and the psychology of belief. The Heaven's Gate mass suicide remains one of the most perplexing and tragic events in modern history.